videotape and put it on YouTube. All right, ready?
Yep.
When you first approach your vehicle, they're going to ask you to take an overall look at it all. You want to make sure there's no low-hanging wires or branches that would impede your truck from moving. You're going to look at your clearance lights on the top of the cab. They're all orange in color, or amber, amber in color. They're not cracked, they're not damaged, no missing nuts or bolts, working properly. You're going to look at your headlights. The lenses are clean, not damaged, no missing nuts or bolts. My headlights are clear, my turn signals are amber. You're going to look underneath the vehicle. Check for any fresh puddles, any leaking fluid. You're going to look to see if it's leaning to the left or right, which would indicate an improperly loaded vehicle or something wrong with your suspension. At this point, you would open up the hood. Now, anything that's attached, you must mention that it's properly attached, no missing nuts or bolts. Anything with oil, any kind of fluid, air, like that, you must mention no cracks, no leaks, because it won't be leaking if there wasn't a crack.
Yep.
You're going to get tired of saying that stuff. And if you happen to get hung up on some of the little things, just say no visible damage. That's what I do.
Okay.
So you're going to start off here on this side of the engine. You're going to have your turbo exhaust, turbo boot, turbo hose. No missing nuts or bolts. All properly attached. No cracks, no leaks. Air going through it. Your alternator and your wires. All properly connected. No missing nuts or bolts. No visible damage. Got your water pump. Securely mounted. No missing nuts or bolts, no cracks, no leaks. Water. I'm going to quit saying that now. You got your fan. All your blades are intact, none are damaged, missing, or broken. No missing nuts or bolts. You got your serpentine belt. No more than 3/4 inch of movement from the center. It's not frayed, it's not damaged, no cuts. And my serpentine belt runs my alternator, my water pump, and my fan. You must mention that. At this point, you'd ask him to step to the other side. All right, come up here. You got your lines and fittings, all securely attached. No cracks, no leaks. We're going to go in a slightly different order than your paperwork. We kind of flow with it. You got your coolant reservoir securely mounted. No missing nuts or bolts, no cracks, no leaks. My cap is on tight. Since your engine is going to be too hot to check the fluid level, you'll check through your sight glass here. And you can see it's full, it's all red there. You got your oil stick properly mounted, filled to the proper level. You must pull it out for the guy. Check daily. Make sure it's securely backed on. Here, you're gonna have your air compressor. It's on top here. All your lines and fittings are securely attached. No missing nuts or bolts, no cracks, no leaks. Right underneath that, you have your hydraulic pump, securely mounted. No missing nuts or bolts, no cracks, no leaks. And you must mention that your hydraulic pump is gear driven, which is this box right here. Then you go to your frame. It's not bent, no illegal welds, no visible damage. Power steering reservoir, securely attached. No missing nuts or bolts, no cracks, no leaks. It's filled to the proper level, and my cap is on tight. All my power steering hoses and lines are in good condition, no cracks, no leaks, no visible damage. Your power steering, or your steering column is straight, it's not damaged, with no debris wrapped around it. My U-joint, securely attached, no missing nuts or bolts, properly greased. My power steering gearbox, securely mounted to the frame, no missing nuts or bolts, no cracks, no leaks. You're gonna get tired of hearing that. Here you have your pitman arm, your drag link, your steering knuckle, your tie rod end, securely attached, no visible damage, no missing nuts or bolts. All my bushings and joints are properly greased not worn or damaged. And I have 3 castle nuts, 1, 2, and 3. At the third one's at the end of your tie rod end. All my castle nuts are on tight and held in place with cotter pins. From there, we're going to move to your suspension. You have your front spring hanger, rear shackle. You know something about engines?
Oh man, I've been studying this paperwork.
Oh, okay, good. I was going to say, wow, all right, you're like 15 steps ahead of most people. All right, you got your front spring hanger, rear shackle, securely attached to the frame. No missing nuts and bolts, no visible damage. I have my bushings, are not worn or damaged, properly greased. My leaf springs, none are shifted, cracked, or missing. My U-bolts and spring mounts securely mounted to the axle. No missing nuts or bolts. My shock absorber securely mounted to the frame at the top. Securely mounted to the top and bottom. No missing nuts or bolts. No cracks, no leaks, because you have air in there. And my bushings are intact. From there we go to our brake system. You have your brake lines and fittings securely attached. No cracks, no leaks, no visible damage. My brake chamber and clamp securely attached, no missing nuts or bolts, no leaks. My slack adjuster and push rod securely attached, no missing nuts or bolts, with no more than 1 inch of movement with applied pressure. Easy way to remember this: 1 tire, 1 inch, 2 tires, 2 inches. That's not the rule, but that's just our way of getting in your head, right? 1 inch movement. From there you go to your brake drums. My brake drums has no holes, no cracks, no illegal welds, no visible damage, no missing nuts or bolts, and no oil, no grease. Your brake shoes, no oil, no grease, no less than 1/4 inch of padding. And we go to the tires. My inner and outer walls, no cuts, blisters, or bulges. Both my tires are evenly worn. My minimum tire tread depth is 4/32 on the front, 2/32 on the back. My tire pressure is 95 to 100 psi. Check daily with an air pressure gauge, and they're not mismatched, radial and bias. Then I go to my rims. My rims are not. There's no visible damage. There's no illegal welds. No visible damage. no illegal welds. There's no rust trails. My lug nuts, they're all on tight. There's none missing. There's no silver threads or rust trails, which would indicate that they're loose. My bolt holes are not cracked, warped, or distorted, which would indicate that they're on too tight. And my valve stem. You want to pause for a bit? Oh, thought that was Paul. Nope, go ahead. So, valve stem and cap is properly attached. It's not cracked, not damaged, not leaking. My wet hub, securely mounted, no missing nuts or bolts, no filled to the proper level, and it's not leaking. Your mud flap, securely attached, no missing nuts or bolts. My mud flap is no more than 6 inches off the ground. Oh, I locked it, sorry. My door opens and closes freely. My hinges are in good condition, they're not damaged. My seal is intact and in good condition. My grab bar, securely mounted to the truck. No missing nuts or bolts, no oil, no grease. Got your battery box, securely attached to the frame. No illegal welds, no visible damage, no corrosion or anything that would indicate that my battery is leaking. My battery cover is securely attached. No illegal welds. My seals are intact. My steps properly attached. No missing nuts or bolts. No illegal welds. No debris. No oil. No grease. Come back here. You have your air dryer and air governor. Your lines and fittings all securely attached. No missing nuts or bolts. No visible damage. No cracks. No leaks. Back of the tractor. No visible damage. No missing nuts or bolts. Everything looks good. Front of your trailer. Look up top. You got your clearance lights, amber in color. The lenses are intact, not cracked or broken. No missing nuts or bolts, working properly. My trailer itself, no visible damage, no holes, no bulges, no missing rivets or bolts. Really can't tell on this truck, but you have your electrical line, which is blue. Your electrical line, which is green, sometimes black. You have your air hoses. Blue is your service line. Red is your emergency line. Both are properly attached. The hoses themselves are not tangled. They're not spliced. There's no illegal, there's no cuts, no visible damage. They're not tangled. They're not dragging. They are on this truck, but they're not dragging on any part of the tractor. You got your cap. Oh, sorry.
Glad hands, right?
Yeah. Well, you got your electrical is plugged in at both ends properly and snugly. Your glad hands. There's no missing nuts or bolts. They're all properly attached. They're not leaking. Seals are in good condition. You need to step back here for 1 second. My air tanks, which are underneath my battery box, primary and secondary, they're both properly attached. They're not leaking. There's no cracks, and I drain them daily at the end of my shift. So we did this. Sorry, I always miss that until I look back and see my air tank. So my catwalk is properly attached to my frame. No missing nuts or bolts. No debris, no oil, no grease. You got your frame is straight. No dents, no illegal welds, no visible damage. My steps are properly attached to my frame. No missing nuts or bolts. No debris, no oil, no grease. My cross members are all properly attached. No missing nuts or bolts. No illegal welds, no visible damage. From here, you go to your drive shaft. It's straight, no visible damage, no debris wrapped around it. My U-bolts are securely attached, properly greased, no missing nuts or bolts. Oops, sorry. My rear end differential is properly attached. It's properly greased, no missing nuts or bolts, no visible damage. Then you go here to your suspension again. You got your front spring hanger securely mounted, no missing nuts or bolts, no visible damage. You got your torque bar, straight, not damaged, no missing nuts or bolts. You got your leaf spring bushing here, securely attached, properly greased, not damaged. Your leaf springs, once again, not shifted, cracked, or missing. U-bolts and spring mounts securely attached to the axle, no missing nuts or bolts. You have an airbag securely mounted at the top and bottom. It's properly inflated, no cracks, no damage, it's not leaking. You have your shock absorber securely mounted at the top and bottom, not leaking, no missing nuts or bolts, no cracks, and my bushings are intact. From here, we go back around to the front. This is where it starts getting a little repetitive. You have your brake lines and fittings securely attached. No visible damage, no cracks, no leaks. My brake chamber and clamp securely mounted. No missing nuts or bolts, no cracks, no leaks. My slack adjuster and push rod, which are behind my brake chamber, no missing nuts or bolts, with no more than 2 inches of movement with applied pressure. From there you go back to your brake drums. No holes, no cracks, no illegal welds, no loose or missing bolts, no oil, no grease. My brake shoe itself, no less than 1/4 inch of padding, no oil, no grease. Then we come to your tires. Both my tires, my dual tires, they're evenly worn. They're not mismatched radial and bias. Minimum tire tread depth of 2/32 on the rear here. Between the inner and outer walls, there's no cuts, blisters, or bulges. Between the tires, they're evenly spaced. No debris, no daylight between the rims. Both are 95 to 100 PSI, which I check daily. My valve stem and cap, it's on tight. It's not cracked, no damage, no leaks. My rim is no visible damage, no illegal welds, no bends, no dents, no rust trails. My lug nuts themselves again, none are missing, they're all on tight, no silver threads or rust trails. My bolt holes are not cracked, warped, or distorted. This is my drive axle hub. It is securely mounted. It is not missing any nuts or bolts, and there's no leaks. If you pull that cap off, you'd see it. From there, I got my mud flaps securely mounted, no missing nuts or bolts, no more than 6 inches off the ground. I got my tail lights here. The lenses are in good condition. They're not cracked, not damaged, no missing nuts or bolts, and are working properly. We go here. You got your 5th wheel mounting platform securely attached to the frame. No missing nuts or bolts. You got your apron here. It runs the entire length of the front of your trailer. It's not bent, damaged, no illegal welds. You got your skid plate securely attached to your mounting platform. No missing nuts or bolts or pins. Between the skid plate and the apron, properly greased, and there is no daylight. You got your locking jaws, which are in the middle of the horseshoe. Both are securely locked around your kingpin shank, and your kingpin shank is not bent. You got your release handle. It's in the fully engaged position, and the safety latch is intact. The safety latch is engaged. From there, look at the overall side of your trailer. Your marker lights. Well, you'd have one on the other trailer here, down there. The lenses are intact, not cracked, not damaged, no missing nuts or bolts, working properly. If you have clearance lights, you want to make sure you notice them. And once again, they're not cracked, no missing nuts or bolts, working properly. You want to take a look at the overall side of your truck. No bulges, no holes, no catastrophic problems, no missing nuts or bolts or rivets. Your DOT reflectors, I like to say they're red, white, clean, and tight, which means they're all there, they're all on tight, and they're all visible. You got the floor of your trailer. There's no holes, no visible damage. Your ribs, they're all intact. They're all there, none missing. Well, that's not good. There's no, they're not bent or damaged. So we don't take this truck down there. You got your 5th wheel support frame, all securely attached. No missing nuts or bolts, no visible damage. Your landing gear is in a fully raised position. No missing nuts or bolts, no visible damage. Your crate handle, no missing nuts or bolts, working properly, and is securely stowed away. And we come down further. You get your air lines and fittings, all securely attached. And there's no visible damage, no cracks, no leaks. Your air tank, securely attached. No missing nuts or bolts, no cracks, no leaks. You got your subframe. It's not damaged, no illegal welds. You got your torsion bar. This has got a torsion bar on the trailer we want to use. It's not damaged, and no missing nuts or bolts. You have your U-joints securely mounted to the axle, no missing nuts or bolts. And you got your spring mounts also, U-bolts and spring mounts. God, I need coffee.
Shit, I know. Me too.
So you got your U-bolts and spring mounts securely attached to your axle, no missing nuts or bolts. You come back over here. Don't have it on this truck, but you'll have airbags. The upper and lower is mounted properly inflated, no cracks, no leaks, no visible damage. You'll have your shock absorber, which is going to be kind of in the middle of your tires there. Your shock absorber will be mounted at the top and bottom, no missing nuts or bolts, no cracks, no leaks, with your bushings intact. Then you'll come back over here to your brakes. I'm trying to visualize. So I'm teaching you for the other trailer. You got your brake lines and fittings securely attached. no cracks, no leaks. Your brake chamber and clamps securely mounted, no missing nuts or bolts, no cracks, no leaks.